In this video, we're going to code so that the difficulty scales at every 50 points. That way, as you increase every 50 points, it's going to start spawning the enemies faster. We're also going to add a high score element and code the game to keep track of that using getInt and setInt. So let's get to work. Welcome to video 8. Right now, a player could theoretically survive forever if they got into a good rhythm, because the enemies spawn at the exact same speed from minute 1 to minute 10. But today, we're going to give the game a little bit of balance by automatically speeding up the enemy spawn rate as our score increases. Alright, first we need to get our spawn manager to automatically spawn faster. So let's go ahead and open up our spawn manager script. Let's grab our code. Go ahead and paste or type that into the bottom of your already existing code, this new method called increase difficulty. So what it does is every so often it's going to subtract 0.1 seconds from the spawn timer as it's however as it is now, it's just going to do this forever, but we need to balance the limits, right? If we keep subtracting 0.1 forever, the spawn rate will eventually hit 0 and the game will try to spawn infinite enemies at once and completely crash the game. So we're using this if statement to set the hard cap at 0.5 so it never gets below that and keeps the game physically playable, so it prevents it from crashing. We added this Debug.Log just so that we know as we're building the game and testing it that the difficulty is increasing. Ultimately, when it's not going to affect anything, it's not going to show anything on screen on the player side, so you could leave it in or you could comment it out when we go to build it, but for right now this is exactly what we want. So go ahead and save that. And now let's work on updating some of the other stuff to get it working. Alright, let's go over to our player controller and scroll to the top. We're going to add this line in as a new variable. Alright, we're going to add that difficulty in just so that we have a header here because we're going to need that. We're going to call this what will we call this? We'll call it player stats. There we go. So this is our private integer difficulty threshold, or we'll probably actually, let's go ahead and make this public now that I'm thinking about it. That way if you want the difficulty threshold to change for your own game, then you can change it in the editor. So go ahead and press save. Now we need to scroll down to our add score section. There it is. And we're gonna copy in this code and then talk about it a little bit. Alright. So if our score exceeds the current threshold, right, then we push the goalpost of the difficulty threshold back by another 50 points. That means that once we hit 50, the game it's gonna increase the difficulty but push the threshold back to 100. And once we reach 100, it's gonna increase the difficulty, push the threshold back to 150, and so on and so forth. And then so basically that's what this part does, right? And then this part is the part that tells it to increase the difficulty. Let's see. Go ahead and save that and let's test it out. 100. Things are starting to speed up now. And you can see in the bottom left in the console that the difficulty is adjusting things. And so right now it looks kind of easy because I have all the lives set at 1, but once we start adjusting the lives for, or the health rather, for the individual objects in there, you can see how this would become a little bit more difficult to manage. So, but there we go. So we know that that's working. Something else we'll do since we got some time. Let's go ahead and add a way to keep track of the score next. As far as the, we'll do like a little high score thing. Alright, so first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to, let's see, where's our canvas? There's our canvas. We're going to right click inside of our canvas. We're going to go down to UI canvas, add a new text mesh pro element. We'll call this high score. Let's focus in on that, see where that's at. And go to our game view so we can see as we move it. We're going to set our anchor point for the top center on this, and then we should be able to just zero it out, and there it is. Let's bring it down down to minus 50, minus 100. Let's see, what is our score at? Our score is at minus 50, but it looks, maybe it's just because of our anchor point. It just, at 50, it looks like it's sitting up higher above the score, but we'll leave it at minus 100, that's fine. We're going to say high score 000. And then let's go back to our scene view, extend this out some so it all displays appropriately. And just for me, I'm going to move it back to centered. All right. Now, let's open up our UI Manager script. First things first, we're going to need a reference for our high score, and then we're going to need a public method to update it. So we're going to have this update best score. Go ahead and save that, and then we're going to go into our player controller, and we're going to need a variable for the best score, which we'll put under the player stats at the bottom of that section. And in our start manager, we're going to have our start method. There we go. We're going to include this one, and then this one. So what these are doing, right, is PlayerPrefs is Unity's built-in way to save small bits of data. So it's going to be getting an integer and call it high score, and then 0. It's going to make it by default 0 as the best score. And then if the UI manager is not equal to null, so if the UI manager is in the scene, it's going to run the best score method, or update best score method that's here, and then it's going to replace that with the actual best score. So let's see here. We should just, all we have to do is just really have to update this by dragging this in here. Trying to see if there's anything I missed in. So we're getting the intro for that, and then it looks like we're good. We should be all right now. Let's see. So it's not updating it, and I think I know why. I think that's because there's a spot missing that's right, we need to set it here in our add score. We never actually added that, so let's do that. Alright, so in our add score, we're going to add this right here between this UI manager and the if statement for the difficulty threshold. And we're just going to add this check to see if we beat the high score. So what's going to happen is it's going to say look for the score, see if it's greater than best score. And best score is the variable that we put up here, right there. And if it is, then it's going to set the high score to be the best score. Then it's going to update the best score with the best score. So now it should work, because what's going to happen is at the start of when the script starts running, it's going to look and get the best score integer that we've set. And then if it doesn't have one, it's should set it to 0. So now let's try it out and test it out. And there you go. You can see the score going up, as well as the high score. And then if I die, and let's stop it and press play again, you can see that the high score it got was the last one, which was 50. And it will not update it until I beat 50. So just to show you that. And there you go. I have a score of 60. My house score is now 60. So that's all working good. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and start going over. We're going to add a background and get it scrolling and repeating, so we don't have to just make an infinitely large space background. We're only going to use 2 background elements, this starry sky here, and just duplicate it and have that constantly scrolling through. Until then, keep learning, keep building. I'll see you in the next video.